Welcome back for another episode of Confident ROI, the one show that gives you the kind of information you need to make confident decisions, whether you own your business, work in it, or work on it. From the man who's done all three, Alex Vorobiev. Hey, Alex, how are you?
I'm doing great, Paul, and you?
Oh, let's get your mic up there. Let's try it again. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great now that you can hear me.
We are privileged not only to have great guests here today with you, but we have a very, very special guest. Why don't you introduce him for those who, I don't think he's going to say much today, but for those watching the YouTube, they may catch a glimpse of your father.
Yes, it's Take Your Father to Work Day, and I have my dad with me, Ben Vorobiev. Say hello, Dad.
Hello.
Well, everybody, someday you got to promise you're going to bring him back and tell the story, because before we went on the air, he's spinning this incredible tale of how he was born in his father was a Russian officer who fled with the White Army in the Russian Revolution, and then went to China or Manchuria until it was invaded by the Japanese, and then went to China until it was overrun by the communists again here. What an amazing tale here.
It's a good story, and we do have to get it on there. I think he's got a good ROI on it as well.
I think so. He seemed pretty confident about telling it to here, so.
Definitely.
Well, who else did you bring with you today?
Well, excited today to welcome Roger Wadell to the show. I've known Roger for about 20 years, and Roger runs a mid-size accounting firm in Southern California. He's the managing partner of Soren McAdam. It's a 6-partner firm, and they work with a lot of growing companies, and Roger specializes in working with companies from 10 million to 250 million in revenues. And it's really interesting to have Roger on Confident ROI, because not only is he working with his clients and seeing what they're trying to improve their business, and as an accountant he understands the concept of ROI, but also with his firm that he's running, he's got to use tools to improve that business as well. So, Roger, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Alex. It's great to be here.
Well, thanks for coming on and joining Paul and my dad here in a unique podcast. No podcast has ever been broadcast with this group of hosts before. So you're making history.
Fantastic.
Roger, why don't you tell us a little bit about Soren McAdam to get started and what makes it unique?
Well, as you mentioned, Alex, we're a one-office firm, a local firm with 6 partners, and we're a pretty traditional firm in that we serve a number of industries in our marketplace, including manufacturing and distribution, agriculture, construction, and healthcare. I think we're a little bit unique in the fact that we do have a number of former national firm members of our firm that are now partners with our firm. So although we are a one-office firm, we try to structure ourselves more like a national firm through our quality processes and through our just making sure that the service aspect, everything gets reviewed. We have processes in place to make sure that we're treating our clients well and doing the things that they need to do. We also, through that experience, can provide consulting services on the Sarbanes-Oxley front, business valuation, and so forth. And probably one of the most unique things about our firm over the last few years is we've gone through a complete succession of our firm. So we've retired 6 partners out of our firm in the last 8 years, which has been quite a feat for us.
Well, and it fits with the theme of having my father on the air today too. He's retired as well. Well, I think we met 18 years ago when you were at Ernst & Young, and I can attest that there's a lot of great experience there at Soren McAdam. And as you work with different businesses and your business, which business books have you found the most helpful over time?
Well, for me, early in my career, I would say that David Maister was very prolific in my personal development with books like True Professionalism and Managing the Professional Services Firm, who kind of helped guide myself in my personal development. And then as I continued to evolve and take over leadership, I've become very fond of James Collins. I found Good to Great and Built to Last to be exceptional books and have tried to incorporate a number of the philosophies in those books to create, a unique, high-performing firm across our industry.
Interesting. And how's it work with getting the right people on the bus? How's that? I've always wondered about that. What does that mean to people implementing that?
I think that what that means is, hopefully I'll be able to share a little bit, later on with you as well, is, really looking past the short-term nature of what an employee or somebody in your firm can provide, and really understand how they fit in with the overall culture and the direction of where you're trying to take the firm. And you can't really get caught up in the short-term benefits of having the wrong person in a particular position because your initial return on investment that seems to be good, or they improve your profitability in the short term. Because in the long term, you can never attract the other key players that you need to get on your bus, and you can never get past that particular point. You're always going to stop at, the toxicity level of a particular individual that's on the bus that's not heading in the same direction that the firm is going.
And is that, when you say that, are you talking about their core values, their behavior? What makes a person not fit on the bus from your perspective?
I think it's a lot of it is core value driven, and there's been so much change in the world and in our industry, and the lack of ability to change, the lack of ability to be flexible has created some real challenges for people who want to do things the way they've been done forever. So their natural response is to hold back and to hold on to the things that they're comfortable with, and not embrace new ideas from younger folks, from people who are trying to make an impact earlier in their career. So I think a lot of it really stems from an openness and a willingness on a core value side, and on a understanding the mission and the strategic vision of the organization.
So does that change the conversations you're having with your partners when you're talking about who to hire than where those conversations were 10 or 15 years ago and where they are today? And what are those conversations like now?
Absolutely, those conversations change because, as I mentioned, we went through a period of succession, and over the last few years, we made the decision as a firm to promote from within and to develop the types of leaders and visionaries within our firm to take over for our retiring partners. So we had to lay out a vision as to what that looks like for us and who we want to be. And then we have to incorporate that in the interviewing process to make sure that the core values, when I took over as managing partner, we actually redid our mission statement and reincorporated core values where we hadn't had those in the past. And we constantly are reminding everybody about what those are. So when we go into an interview process, we are definitely emphasizing those characteristics and ensuring that the candidates that are coming to us fit within those core values. And we've also, one of the other things we've done, Alice, is we've involved our younger people much more in that process. So they're actually vetting a lot of our new hires before, people like myself or other partners or managers are even interviewing these people to understand what their values are. They're taking them to lunch and to breakfast and getting to know them and understand what their value system is, because they understand what our culture is and what the core values that we feel are important here.
It was interesting. We were talking with an IT CEO a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about how they put the fit and the attitude ahead of the technical skills. They felt they could do they could teach the technical skills, but you couldn't teach on the culture side. Is that something similar is happening in accounting?
I think that there always will be the necessary, core technical skills that will have to be there. But I think the interpersonal skill side is becoming much, much more, of value, and it will continue to be a driving force. I believe that there are a lot of bright people that we can train and that can learn, and if they have the right attitude, if they're willing to be a good team player, a good teammate within the organization, that we can take people to much higher levels. And it's a lot easier to train people on the technical side than it is on the interpersonal side. So that is clearly a key component of what we look for in the hiring process.
Do you got any techniques you use to try to get the insight of whether or not the person is a fit with the core values of the firm?
Well, like I mentioned, one of the things that we do now is that we take our younger staff who are embraced, in the culture and the core values of our firm, and they're kind of our leading force in identifying potential candidates. They're the ones that are out at the events meeting the potential students. They're the ones that are doing the first screenings of potential applicants. They are arranging the initial interviews. They're inviting them to functions within our firm, whether it's to guest play on our firm softball team or to participate in some other activity that's a firm-related activity, so that they can come in and observe, their behaviors with other members of the team and how they fit in, with the values of other members of the team. They're conducting breakfast interviews, and they're really the ones that are narrowing down for us the candidates for to push through the process. And we found that very effective.
Interesting. And so how we can, on the technical side, you can ask somebody technical questions, right? And so they get vetted by your frontline people. How do you know that they vetted them? Just they like them, they're friends with them. Is there any sense? Is it interviewing them yourself?
Yeah. So what we do is, they will, we have a number of interested candidates, and they're kind of the first screening defense. They narrow it down to probably 10 or 15, applicants that they feel real comfortable with, and then we'll bring in myself. I'm involved in all the interviewing, so that I can have a hands-on approach to understanding this individual, and can ask certain behavioral type questions and see the response from the candidates. And I have another partner, Jason Lewis, that usually sits in on those interviews, and a couple managers as well, and we have an HR director. And so they're kind of the first line of our attack in the recruiting process, and then we refine the process through further interviews. And I'd have to say that I think our younger people are really nailing it. The candidates that are coming to be finalists in the interview process last year, the three candidates that we really everybody thought were the best candidates accepted with our firm, and we're really excited about the culture and the people that they were coming to work with.
That's great. That's gotten something off. You've been able to delegate something and get better results at the same time. That's great.
Correct.
And I would imagine, is it challenging recruiting nowadays in the accounting?
It's very, very challenging. The market is very, very difficult.
All right.
Especially for entry level and for experienced hires.
It's happening all throughout the economy. We're going to take a quick break here, Roger, and we'll be right back.
And we just want to give you a quick reminder that magazine we've been talking about, Confident ROI, it's hit the stands, it's out, it's real, it's ready. So if you're enjoying today's Confident ROI radio show, you might want to check out the Confident ROI magazine. Pretty simple. The new issue has 2 articles, for example, about CEOs that were facing challenging times and what tools help them advance their companies. when they most needed a return on their investment. And there are articles from thought leaders like Vern Harnish on strategy and Dr. Brad Smart on top grading, discussing a low-cost way to remove your hiring headaches. All that and more. You can sign up, pretty simple, for a free, I said free, print or digital version of the magazine at ConfidentROI.com. Discover the right tool to advance your company at ConfidentROI.com. And I'll tell you that Alex's dad reads it religiously. He wouldn't miss the magazine here. So I don't know if that's true or not.
All right, we're back?
We're back. Okay.
All right. Roger, so we're talking about the recruiting and getting the right people on the bus there. Any other business concepts or tools that you've tried to implement or you see your clients trying to implement to advance their company, and and anything of note to share with the audience?
Well, yeah, I mean, I can speak for ourselves. Here at Soren McAdam, we're always trying to find ways to create, a stronger, culture of unity within our organization. And one of the things that we implemented in order to try to do that is we've kind of gone away from the standard model of most CPA firms. We're not departmentalized. We don't have an audit department and a tax department and an admin department and an accounting department, which is typically more the focus that you see in our industry. And we started out that way, and what we found was it was creating some divisiveness within our organization as to which department was more valuable to the firm based upon what their particular skill set was. So we implemented a one firm, one team approach a few years back in order to basically incorporate the value concept amongst all of our professionals within the firm, so that everybody understood that every member of our firm was a valuable member of our firm, whether they were in an administrative role, whether they were a high-level technical person, that providing exceptional client service and treating our clients well was everyone's responsibility, and everybody played an integral role in so doing that. So we changed our compensation structure associated around that, and we set up a profit-sharing pool that every member of the firm shares in evenly, regardless of whether or not what their role is within the firm. So we carve out a bucket of profitability and basically say, hey, if everybody does their job, everybody's a good teammate, everybody works well together, and we serve our clients well, then we're all successful, and we all share evenly, regardless if we're a tax principal or we're an audit staff person. Everybody shares evenly in that part of the pool. So I think it's created an opportunity and a sense of unity and togetherness to understand that, hey, as individuals, we all bring value to the organization. We have different roles, and that's okay that we have different roles, but from a value perspective, we all bring terrific value to our clients, and without the help of everybody working together collaboratively, we wouldn't be as successful as we could be.
Interesting. So you've moved to one firm, so you've removed the departments. Now, does that mean that people that are revenue producers also do some of the non-revenue tasks, or you have people that still do non-revenue, but they just don't have the names of the departments?
We still have people that have certain levels of expertise, for sure. So, but one of the areas where we've changed is that any entry-level person coming into our firm, they're not an auditor or a tax person or an accounting services person. They're all three. They do everything when they enter into the firm. So they don't have to make a decision when they first come in. Our goal is for them to learn all facets of our business and have client interaction early in the process from a first-year person. So they're coming in and they're doing a full gamut. And later in their careers, we do have professionals in our firm that focus on tax, that are tax experts, and you have to have that level of expertise within the firm. We have audit, partners and
Sure.
principals. So there are, people that have particular roles from a functionality situation. But for instance, we have career advisors who work with the development of our people, and they're not, all the tax people don't go to, one person that's a tax career advisor. They're spread out amongst all the career advisors within the firm, regardless of the role that the career advisor plays within the firm. So we try not to separate or create division along skill sets within the firm. We try to create collaboration amongst those skill sets so that the right people are in the room, regardless of what their roles are, in looking at strategic vision and where we want to take the firm.
Okay, now I understand. And has the firm gotten a return on investment from this change in mindset and change in compensation plans?
I believe it has, and I think our turnover has been, exceptional compared to what industry standards would be. I think that for the most part, our entry-level people are staying at our firm, 4 to 5 years, or I think the national average is probably for national firms is probably closer to, 2 years and out. I think that we've seen that our professional staff actually enjoy being together. They enjoy the culture. They do things outside of the office together. So yeah, I think that it has promoted a spirit of togetherness, one team coming together. I think there's a greater level of respect amongst all members of the firm, and so yeah, I think that it's working.
Great. Roger, with our time here, we don't have a ton of time left, but we always like to ask our guests about any experiences they have with delaying, confronting reality. And you got any stories you could share with us before we wrap up today?
Yeah, I would say probably that relates to dealing with, individuals who aren't a good fit for the firm, but you hold on too long. I think companies, and I've seen this in industry as well, in companies that I've worked with, where it's not a good fit, that the individual is toxic to the environment, but you can't make a change because they work on this particular client, or you run the risk that you won't be able to perform this type of level of service, and there's this balancing act where inside your gut that it's the right thing is for the person to move on, but you're held back because of this fear of losing revenue or not being able to take care of a particular client. And like I said, I see that in my clients as well.
And you found that confronting the reality is generally better?
Absolutely. I think that it is. There's never been a situation where that reality hasn't eventually been dealt with appropriately, where it wasn't a better situation. And you look back and you say, wow, I wish I would have dealt with this 6 months ago or a year ago.
Well,
yeah.
Well, that's great, Roger. Unfortunately, we're out of time for today, and I want to thank you for coming on. Been a great guest, and thanks.
All right, Alex, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Roger.
All right. Bye-bye.
And how do we reach you in Confident ROI one more time?
Go to confidentroi.com, and as well for the show notes page at confidentroi.com, you can also click for Roger's firm, Soren McAdam. You'll be able to click there and find the information about Roger.
And how do we spell Soren?
S-O-R-E-N.
Okay, and McAdam is just M-C or M-A-C?
M-C-A-D-A-M,
okay.
And it'll be posted in the show notes page.
Okay, all right. Any final words from your dad here before we sign off here? Anything in Russian he wants to say? Oh, say it again. I'm sorry. I tied your mic down.
Хорошо.
Хорошо, which means?
That's good.
That's good.
All right.
We like it. We'll leave it with that.
Thanks, Paul.
You've been listening to another episode of Confident ROI, the one show you can confidently listen to receive real insights and real ROI for the companies you're working in or working on or working with. Right here at Orange County's only community radio station, octalkradio.net.
Imagine what it would feel like to lose everything: your job, your